Urgent Cleveland Browns fans, do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Cleveland Browns updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey Browns fans, today, I've got something that might just shake up your entire perspective on the Cleveland Browns quarterback situation and the trajectory of this team in the current NFL season. It's a story filled with unexpected turns, promising flashes of brilliance, and a lot of questions that we'll try to answer together. So, grab a seat, get comfortable, and let's dive deep into what's happening with Shedeur Sander and the Browns' quarterback outlook. A story that might just redefine how you see this team moving forward. Now, I know many of you have been following the Browns' season closely. We've seen ups and downs, some promising performances, and of course, a lot of speculation about who will be under center when it counts most, in the playoffs. But the latest game, Week 12, brought something different, a performance that, on paper, might seem underwhelming, but in reality, signals a potential shift, a spark, and perhaps even a new chapter for Cleveland. Let's start with the raw numbers because they are the first thing everyone notices. Shedeur Sander, son of the legendary Deion Sanders, finished Sunday's game completing 11 of 20 passes for 209 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. At first glance, those stats don't jump off the page, right? They are okay, not spectacular. But what's more telling is the context behind those numbers, the eye test, and what those plays represented in the grand scheme of the game and the season. Sanders' performance, especially in Week 12, was a mixed bag, a typical rookie showing with flashes of brilliance and moments where he still needs to grow. Yet, when you look beyond the box score, you see a different story unfolding. You see a quarterback who, despite the challenges of the NFL, managed to make some throws that turned heads. Most notably in the first quarter, Sanders rolled to his right under pressure and threw a perfect strike to Isaiah Bond for a 52-yard gain. That's right, a 52-yard completion, a throw that left everyone in the stadium and watching from home in awe. This particular play was more than just a big gain. It was a statement, a reminder that Shedeur Sander possesses arm talent, mobility, and the ability to deliver under pressure. That throw in a crucial moment of the game displayed composure and skill that even veteran quarterbacks envy. It's the kind of play that makes you sit up and think, hey, this kid might have something special. And it's exactly what Myles Garrett, one of the league's most fearsome pass rushers, highlighted after the game. Garrett, known for his football intelligence and honesty, said, "There's not many guys in the league that can make that throw. That was a hell of a throw. I hope he can continue to grow and develop from making plays like that and take it from there." So, what does this mean for the Browns? Well, it's complicated. The coaching staff didn't exactly shower Sanders with praise at the start of the season. There was skepticism, perhaps even doubt, about whether he was ready to lead this team. But after witnessing that play, after seeing the potential that Sanders showed, especially in a league where every detail matters, you have to wonder if the mindset is starting to shift. Could it be that Cleveland is beginning to see something more in Sanders than just a rookie making a few plays? Could he be the guy who, if nurtured correctly, can steer this franchise toward the playoffs? Now, let's analyze this more deeply. Browns' quarterback room has been a topic of conversation all season. Deshaun Watson, the supposed franchise quarterback, has struggled with consistency, injuries, and adapting to this system. The team has been looking for stability, for a leader who can elevate the offense and take some pressure off their defense, which, as everyone knows, can be dominant when firing on all cylinders. So, when Sanders stepped in and delivered that incredible throw, it was more than just a highlight. It was a signal, a hint that maybe Cleveland's future at quarterback isn't as murky as it seemed a few weeks ago. But of course, one game does not make a season. The NFL is a league of constant evolution, and rookies often have their ups and downs. The question is, can Sanders sustain this kind of performance? Can he develop the consistency needed to lead a team in the playoffs? And what about the coaching staff? Will they be willing to give him more opportunities, even if Deshaun Watson is healthy? That's the big debate right now, and it's one that fans and analysts alike are dissecting. Let's take a moment to reflect on the historical context. The Browns have had a tumultuous quarterback history, from Johnny Manziel to Baker Mayfield, and more recently, Deshaun Watson's signing. Each of these quarterbacks brought hope, but also frustration due to inconsistency or injuries. Sanders, as a young talent with a different football background, represents something fresh. Coming from college and then the transfer portal, he's had a unique path. His arm talent, mobility, and playmaking ability are reminiscent of some of the league's best young quarterbacks, but he still needs seasoning. What's intriguing is that even with limited playing time, Sanders has already begun to carve out his identity in Cleveland's vernacular. The fans, the media, and even players like Garrett are starting to acknowledge his potential. This is a pivotal moment. It's reminiscent of other young quarterbacks who, after a flash of brilliance, became franchise cornerstones. Think of Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City or Joe Burrow in Cincinnati. Could Sanders be on that trajectory? It's too early to say for sure, but the signs are promising enough to at least consider it seriously. Now, looking at the bigger picture, the Browns' season hangs in a delicate balance. They're fighting for a playoff spot, and every game is crucial. The next few weeks will be vital to see if Sanders can continue to develop, if he can harness that confidence, and if the coaching staff will be bold enough to give him more playing time. The team's defense, led by Garrett and others, has been solid, but the offense has struggled at times with consistency. If Sanders can bring that spark, that electric playmaking, it could be the difference between a disappointing season and a memorable playoff run. And speaking of playoffs, let's not forget how close the AFC is this year. With teams like Kansas City, Cincinnati, and Jacksonville vying for top spots, the Browns need to maximize every opportunity. If Sanders can show that he's capable of leading this team in the coming weeks, it might change the entire narrative around Cleveland's postseason prospects. But there's still a lot of football to be played and plenty of questions to answer. Now, I want to compare Sanders to other young quarterbacks in the league. We've seen how players like Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, and even Trevor Lawrence have evolved over their first few seasons. They all faced moments of doubt, but with patience and development, they became leaders. Sanders, with his arm talent and the moment he showed against the Browns' defense, has the raw tools. The question is, will the Browns' coaching staff and front office be patient enough to nurture that talent? Or will they revert to the veteran option if Watson's health improves? This leads us to the next crucial point, the future of Cleveland's quarterback situation. The Browns have invested heavily in Watson, and he remains the presumed starter. However, if Sanders continues to impress, especially with moments like that 52-yard throw, it could force the team to reconsider their approach. Are they willing to develop Sanders behind the scenes, or will they see his recent performance as a sign that he's ready to take on a bigger role? The coaching staff's decision in the coming weeks will be pivotal. Now, let's consider the fans' perspective. Cleveland fans are notoriously passionate and patient, but they also crave excitement and hope. Sanders' performance, even in a limited role, gives them something to rally around, a young quarterback with a big arm and a flair for the dramatic. The energy in the stadium during that play was palpable, and social media was buzzing with praise for Sanders' talent. This kind of buzz can be a double-edged sword. It raises expectations quickly, but it also puts pressure on the team to deliver. On the other hand, critics will point out that one play, no matter how impressive, doesn't guarantee future success. They'll remind us that consistency over a season is what truly matters in the NFL. But that's the beauty of football. It's unpredictable, full of surprises, and moments like these are what make the sport so exciting. Will Sanders be able to harness that moment and build on it? That's what we all want to see. Let's also talk about the implications for the team's overall strategy. If Sanders gets more opportunities, how would that change Cleveland's offensive scheme? Would they lean more on play action, exploiting his mobility and arm strength? Or would they focus on quick, short passes to build his confidence? The coaching staff's game plan moving forward will be critical, especially against upcoming defenses that will try to contain him. And what about the rivalries? The Browns are in a league where rivalries matter a lot, against teams like Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. How would Sanders perform in those high-stakes, emotionally charged games? Could he be the spark needed to finally turn the tide in some of these intense matchups, or would the pressure be too much? It's these questions that make predicting the future so challenging, but also so fascinating. Now I want to pause here for a second. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Cleveland Browns news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and IT makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let's continue with the big reveal. Looking ahead, the Browns' schedule is filled with critical matchups. Each game could be a turning point for Sanders' development. The next few weeks will determine whether he is just a fleeting flash or a long-term answer. Fans will be watching closely, analyzing every throw, every decision, and every moment of growth or struggle. The coaching staff will be under pressure to decide whether to trust the young gun or stick with the veteran. The potential of Sanders isn't just about this season. It's about the long-term vision of Cleveland's franchise. Do they see him as the future? Or was his late-season emergence just a temporary spark? These are the questions that will dominate the headlines and fan debates in the coming months. And if he continues to develop, if he can show consistency, the Browns could find themselves in a very different position next season. In conclusion, Browns fans, what we've seen in Week 12 is more than just a decent stat line or a flash in the pan. It's a glimpse into what could be a new chapter for Cleveland. Shedeur Sander has shown that he has the talent to make big plays, to inspire his teammates, and to challenge the preconceived notions about his readiness. The road ahead is still long, but that play, a 52-yard bomb under pressure, might be the beginning of something much bigger. Are we witnessing the start of a quarterback renaissance in Cleveland? Could Sanders be the guy who finally brings stability and excitement to this franchise? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: Cleveland Browns fans have every reason to be both excited and cautious. The next few weeks will be crucial, and I, for one, can't wait to see how this story unfolds. And now, Cleveland Browns fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cleveland Browns. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates. So stay tuned for the latest Cleveland Browns news. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. We've got a lot to look forward to, and I believe this team, with Sanders in the mix, might just surprise us all.